here not long ago, I ain't saying nothing about your religion, Christian Science, but a Christian Science woman said to me, she said, Reverend Branham, you put too much emphasis on the deity of Jesus Christ. I said, how do you? I said, you brag too much about him. I said, you're God, everybody's a God in themselves. I said, oh no. I said, she said, he was no more than a man. I said, he was God. She said, why, he couldn't have been. Said, if I'll prove to you by the Scripture that he was no more than a mere man, will you accept it? I said, yes, ma'am. If the Scripture said he was mere man, I'll believe what the Scripture says. But first, I want to know where you're going. She said, well, I'll prove it to you. She used the same Scripture. She said, when Jesus was going down to the grave of Lazarus, the Bible said he wept. Said that showed that he was mortal, that he wept like a man. I said, that's true. Lady, he was a man when he was weeping. When he went to the grave, he sorrowed with the rest of them. It was sorrowful. He joyed with the rest of them when they was joyful. But I said, he was more than a man. I said, when he went to the grave of Lazarus, he was weeping like a man. But when he stood there and pulled his little self together and said, Lazarus, come forth. And a man had been dead for 4 days. His soul 4 days journey somewhere. Corruption knew its master. His soul had been gone 4 days, I don't know where, neither do you, so we wouldn't argue about that. But that soul returned back to the body, and a man been dead for 4 days stood on his feet and lived again. Brother, that was more than a man speaking. That was God speaking in his man. You believe that? Yes, sir. He was a man when he come down off the mountain that night so hungry, he's trying to find something to eat, looking all around the tree, trying to find something to eat. He was a man when he was hungry. That's right. But when he took 5 biscuits and 2 little fishes and broke them and fed 5,000, that was more than a man. That was God speaking out of that man. He was a God man. Right. He was a man when he was laying on the back of that little boat that night. It flopped around on the ocean line, waves like a bottle stopper. And 10,000 devils of the sea swore they had drowned him that night. The storms come down, it's gale. The boat was filling up, the sails were gone. The disciples' heart was failing them. He was a man when all that wreckage and things wouldn't wake him up. He was a man laying there, had been praying for the sick all day. Virtue had gone out of him, and he was weary and resting. He was a man when he was asleep. But when he put his foot on the brail of that boat and said, peace, be still, that was more than a man. When the seas and the waves obeyed him, that was God speaking out of his Son. God was in his Son, reconciling the world to himself. Believest thou this? He was a man when he screamed for mercy under Calvary, hanging between the heavens and earth, bleeding out his blood, the blood of Jehovah himself, dropping down upon the sinful world, bathing it with his blood. When he screamed, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? That was a man when he died. But on Easter morning, when the tombs broke and the seals of death and cords was unloosed, and he rose from the dead triumph, he proved he